welcome back to our channel. So in general, when it comes to Linux operating systems, we used to manage them through the command line, right? SSH is the protocol, that is the default or the de facto standard or the tool that we use to manage them. So we either use the command line native options from within the operating system, like Windows, you can use the PowerShell or the command line, or you can also use any third-party SSH client to connect and manage the Linux systems. So in one of my recent session, when I was explaining about Linux file system, I was showing a graphical window, or I was taking an RDP remote desktop to a Linux system or Linux server, right? So many of you were asking me, like, is that really possible to have a RDP to a Linux system? Yes, it is. And so how do we do that? Right, so this session is more about it. Okay, so remote desktop services is a very fantastic option, especially for the system administrators or the people who are beginners to managing the system. This gives you a graphical user interface. Even the modern software developers are also inclined towards having a remote connection, where whenever they are managing the systems from remotely, they are expecting a GUI to utilize a lot of different applications and utilities, right? So here, that is the reason why Microsoft has a protocol called Remote Desktop Protocol, which generally works on, or which generally listens on TCP port number 3389. It is a Microsoft developed protocol. So what the Linux open source team has done is they have created a similar RDP protocol, which is an open source remote desktop protocol for Linux, called as XRDP. Okay, this is going to provide you secure encrypted communication, and it is compatible with the existing Microsoft RDP client, and it is also cross-platform. It can be accessed from Linux, Mac, and Windows, and it's a very user-friendly tool. And it works very much similar to your client server model in Windows. You need to have a RDP client, and you can access it from your local machine. So you need a Linux system as a prerequisite, and you need to have root privileges to edit and modify any changes to the configuration. You need to have a stable internet connection, the local machine where you have the RDP client installed. So there are variety of graphical consoles or graphical GUI options, desktop options available in Ubuntu, or many Linux for that matter. So couple of them are very popular and available across different Linux flavors, like the Genome. Genome has got multiple version, and the KDE, and there are many other tools. Like there are close to 18 tools listed here, but there are much more than that. So these are the popular ones that I've listed. So you can install any of these desktop on the Linux flavor that you are planning to take RDP, or take a graphical connection. Okay, so what you have to do is, in general, for some of these installations of XRDP, it might need additional packages as a prerequisite. So it's always better to update the system so that the repository or the connection towards whenever there's a package that needs to be installed, it will help you to do it. So I have preferred to go with XFCE for this particular demo. XFCE is one of the option. So you can go with any of these options as you like on the Linux flavor. I have chosen to do it on a Ubuntu Linux system. So you can just go ahead and install this particular package. So before that, we need to connect to the system first. Before taking the RDP, I will connect it to the PowerShell, and then let me log into the system. Okay, so SSH Stan is the username for this particular system, and IP address is the system's IP address. So I'm just trying to connect. So I'm inside the system. So let me switch user to root so that I can install the packages that is needed. So first I will install the XFCE4 package, and along with the goodies or the packages, the dependencies that it needs. So once after you do that, you need to install the XRDP, which is the acronym for X remote desktop protocol. And again, it works on the same 3389 port. If you want to customize it very much, you can customize it. So let's go and install it. Okay, then you can go and check the status of the XRDP. So it is active and running. If it is not running, then obviously you know the command. You can start it, or you can give it a restart if some configurations is not matching up. So let's go and try accessing the system. If in case you need to modify some session duration or session type, or you need to change the logging location, or if you want to make some screen resolution change or color depth, you can make a lot of updates on this configuration file. I will show you a couple of examples on how to do that. So yeah, after you make the changes, you can restart it. But now let's go and try taking the RDP of the system. Okay. So I'm just going with the default port number 3389. So in general, some of the organization, they go and change the port number to secure the system, because the default ports are it is more vulnerable to brute force attack. So that is the reason generally they change the port number for these common port numbers like 223389. Generally organizations change it to the number of their choice. Now I am logged in. So this is the GUI, and this is where I was explaining about the file system and stuff last week. And so this is the XFC icon. If you have prefer to use Genome or KD or other ones, it will be you'll have a different visual desktop with the images might be different. So you can go and manage the system with a lot of utilities here. You have file manager, you have disk creator, you have software updater, you have the logs to go and check what has happened, who's logged in, and so on, right? So you can just see what has happened, what are the different errors. This is like your event viewer in your Windows. You have application, you have systems, you have security and hardware related. So all logs are pretty much streamlined, and you can go and just look at the important ones, so that you know like which are the filtered and most essential ones. Okay, so let me go and log out. I will show you how to connect to this in another way, another method. Okay, let me log out. Okay, it's done. Since I'm using Microsoft Azure also provides you both command line options from within your browser, right? And also it provides you an option where you can okay, go to the serial console. This is the command line option I was referring to. So you can just log in and manage whatever activities that you do via the SSH option. So it is pretty much similar to that. So maybe quickly I'll show you before I show you the another option that we have. So for this, like you can just work within the same window. You have option to manage the system, restart, and do certain things. So now it's in the login prompt. I'm just entering my username, okay, and the password. So I'm logged in. Okay, so I can just do all the activities that I did it from the remote SSH connection. But the interesting part here is it also gives us the option to manage the systems graphically or from the command line in the browser method. See, for example, it gives me SSH and RDP option. So here RDP, the default port number is 3389, and if I want to connect here, I can just enter the credential, okay, and then just say connect. It opens up in a new window because I've just preferred to do that, open in a new browser window. So you can see that it is loading up the GUI connection, and whatever the session that I've saved and I was working earlier from within my XRDP session has still are still open. See, for example, that's what I did it, right? So here, like for example, if I want to keep this locks open, okay, and I can just log out, and then I can just say what are the different sessions that I'm working on. Like these are the two systems or two activities that I was doing. So I've just disconnected. Okay, so this is a very interesting option, right? From within the browser, we don't have to install any client, we don't have to do any additional settings, but there are certain stuff that you can do. These are the interesting options that are present within your XRDP configuration file. Okay, so here it is, the INI file. So here you can go and change the timeout. You can enhance the cryptography, the security level. You can add any additional color changes or whatever, right? See, you can see that what is the kind of blue-green format currently it is using, and if you want to change it, you can change it. And if you want to change the background color or it has got a lot of options, right? The very first one here is the most important one, where you can go and customize your port number to avoid any brute force attack. For example, if I want to just change it to a fancy number like 6789 or something like that, I can also do that. Okay, so only thing is you need to ensure that you are allowing that particular port number. If let's check the firewall status here, whether it is running. No, it is inactive. So if it is running, you need to allow UFW, allow the port number, which is 6789, right? So I need to restart the service, not the system as such. You can just say systemctl restart xrdp. Okay, so since we have updated the configuration file, you have to do that. And if I want to take RDP now, what is the port number that I have to use? 6789. And before which, you have to ensure that you have the network settings, network security group, allowing the port number that we have configured, right? So here, go and enter the custom port number that you have used, 6789. And if you want to be specific, or you want to say that this is a custom RDP, in fact, it is an XRDP, right? XRDP port number, and then save it. So give it a minute so that the rules get applied, and it passes on the message to the system that it should allow on that particular port number. So go to the Bastion. Give the port number that you have given. It can be anything. It can be 4-digit or 5-digit or 3-digit, whatever the numbers you like, even any fancy numbers that is of your interest, you can have it. Let me say connect, and it should open up. The most important part here is it uses HTTP. Yes, okay, secure connection. And you can see that it has opened up the sessions that I was earlier working on, and I can just continue to work on that. And here I can also take the RDP, but this time I have to use a customized port number, which is 6789, right? 6789, because I've changed the port number, right? So, yeah, perfect. So I'm able to update it. You can change a lot of things, a lot of steps. So thank you for listening, and you can also try these from your side. Okay, so Bastion, especially this Bastion, you just need to have a standard SKU or a standard Bastion. So that will help you to take RDP or whatever, right? Even if your preference is to work from the SSH, yeah, that is also possible, right? So you have varieties of method from Azure, where you can connect and work on your systems. See, this is much faster, much quicker. See, compared to your remote desktop protocol, this works through 443, which is very secure, and the response is also very powerful, very fast. Okay, so that's what everyone needs, right? The system administrators, especially the cloud operations team, they need it. So they don't have to have any additional tool on their local system. But if in case you need to do so, you know that, right? So there are many different methods to connect to your um, Linux. So the most favorite one is your PuTTY, right? So where you go and give the port number, sorry, the IP address. And then here you can just give stan at the rate of this particular IP address, and then try to connect. It is going to ask us the password. Yep, so we are connected. So this is one method where you can work using the putty tool. You have a lot of third-party SSH clients where you can also have multiple parallel sessions. There are tools like VNC where real VNC client can be you installed, and you can also take a GUI option. That is also a method. And within Azure platform, you also have Cloud Shell through which you can manage this. And also I already explained about the boot diagnostics method, the serial console method, in fact. Okay, you can also run some commands here, but it's not a connection in general. So here you can also go to connect and then see what are the other options available. Reset password or keys. So you have the native SSH. Click on this. Let's see what it provides. So you can also go and copy the SSH key if in case you want to use that. I will also show you that method. Okay, it is configured to use the shell now. So they have given us the command. Now you can go to your browser, just exit from here, and then I also exit from the sudo connection, and then you can also use the PIM key, right? So this is one more secure way of connecting using the private and public key method. That is what you guys might be used to if you have worked on AWS or other provider for that matter. So you can also use the PIM file, the private exchange mail file, to connect to Linux and work from here. Okay, so you can also switch to the local machine, and you can also use different operating system. If you're using Mac or Linux, you can also use a different command based on your operating system of your choice. So yeah, these are the different methods that are available. Thank you.